Go.
It was January. The lacrosse season was coming around the corner, but the only problem was I had no lacrosse gear. So my parents told me if I was to even consider playing lacrosse, I would have to buy all this gear all by myself. And for me, I want to look extra drippy when I was out there. So I wanted to spend $2,000 to get all the lacrosse gear I needed. I had a Kobe Bryant card, and the only way I could make all this money was by selling it. So I decided to list it on eBay. After days, a buyer finally came in and bought this card. I was happy. I was so excited until I realized eBay took 15% of me, and I didn't have enough money to buy all the drippy gear I needed.
That's when we came in. Hi, I'm Zachary McFarland. This is Ethan Sandberg. That's Andrew Markowitz. That's Hudson Mattia. And that's Simon Schuparski. And together, we created Topline. Topline is an online marketplace dedicated to connecting teenage collectors to be able to buy and sell collectible items such as sneakers, watches, cards, jewelry, or anything else that you can collect, as long as it's over $100. So what sets us aside from competitors is our value propositions. Firstly, we chose fees, and we have a premium service for that. So why we chose fees is when we were interviewing teenagers, one of the biggest issues they had with selling on websites like eBay or StockX is that the fees were way too high. They get up to 30%. So what we did was we cut that by 5 times, and we charge around 4 to 6%. And then if you pay $44.99 quarterly, you get our premium service, which allows you to unlock that 4% fee. And then in addition to that, you get put at the top of our online marketplace, which I'll get to in a second. Secondly, we have a concierge service. So what this means is many collectible items are like 1 out of 100, like his Kobe Bryant card, which makes them more valuable. So those are really hard to find on websites like eBay. So what we do is we'll call around small businesses and any contacts we know, and we'll see if we can find it for you at a specific price. Third, we have an online marketplace. So what this will look like is on our website, you'll be able to click on a tab. Any sellers who are selling an item, there'll be a list of them. Yeah. And then our fourth and most important value proposition is transparency and verification. When we were interviewing, the #1 complaint we had was that teenagers were worried about getting scammed or sold broken products on eBay and StockX. So that's where we did that. What we're going to do to guarantee this is we're going to take pictures around all of the photos so any damages are listed. And in addition to this, we've been in contact with Highest Kicks, which is a sneaker store in Barrington, as you guys might know. And we're also getting in contact with Long & Co. by Starbucks to be able to guarantee authenticity.
We plan on using Instagram as our main marketing tactic, as it's the most popular app amongst teenagers. At this time, we have around 600 followers and are continuing to grow rapidly. We also plan on contacting people through DMs and direct messages to any potential customers who we can potentially make deals with. And we also plan on paying popular accounts with up to 100,000 followers to promote our products. On pages above 100,000 followers, around a 6.3% click-through rate, which has an estimate around 6,000 customers would reach our ad. We also plan on using TikTok and Facebook and email. We plan on using TikTok for the younger generation, which is short videos. You can also post on Instagram and possibly Facebook as well. And Facebook for the older generation, which you can also reach out and message people like Instagram. We also plan on blasting out emails to any interested customers, in which we find out by who fills out our survey on our landing page.
Our total addressable market is 69.5 billion for online marketplaces, according to Statista, while our serviceable addressable market is $21.55 million, which we found by finding teenagers who use online marketplaces and have a household income of over $200,000, because if they have a household income of anything less than that, we find it very rare that they are willing to spend money on high-value collectibles. While we plan to take a market share percentage of 0.02% to meet our first year's revenue.
This will be our 5-year predictions.
$51,000, which will, with our expenses, will put us at around $2,600 net profit. For year 2, we're planning to make around $130,000, which will put us around $29,000 of net profit. For year 3, we're planning to make around $250,000, which will put us at around $69,000 of net profit. Year 4 is $499,000 of revenue, which would put us around $155,000 of net profit. In year 5, we're planning to make around $997,000, which will put us around $325,000 of net profit.
For MVP, we wanted to make a landing page. With our landing page, what we wanted to get is collect quantitative data to verify the number of potential buyers and sellers who could be using Topline. We also wanted to receive data on the excitement levels for the use of Topline. Our tactics for marketing our landing page is primarily through social media. We will be planning to use Instagram because, according to Statista, 65% of teenagers use Instagram, so we can target teenagers specifically on Instagram. We will also use other social media such as Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, which could also make us reach a bigger age range more than just teenagers. Another way we will market tactic we will use to market our landing page is through a blast list. We will collect a bunch of emails and send an email out with a link to our landing page. So let's say you click on our link and you'll be brought here. This is our landing page. The first thing you'll see is our company name, our solution, and our value propositions. If you still don't know more about us and want to learn, you can scroll down and you can see who we are and what we do. You can see that we are students from the Barrington Incubator Program, and you can see specifically what we are trying to do. If you still want to learn more, you can click one more. One click, you'll be brought to this page. You could register and take our survey to be a potential buyer and seller, and we would just click there. Once clicked, you can see this video that goes over our problem, solution, and what we do differently. After that, you can fill out a quick little survey with information such as if you want to be a buyer or seller. We plan to connect buyers and sellers through our MVP process even before we have the whole website finished. If you want to contact us for further inquiries, you can leave an email or phone number and we'll be back in touch. Here is just a little demo of what Topline will look like once we're finished. We have a website view and a phone view. You can see that there's a bunch of listings, variety of products, and you can see the price, and when you click on them, you can learn more about each price and who's selling it.
Alright, so what we were asking for is $250. And the reason we're asking for this is first, 160 of it would go towards our MVP service. What this would mean is we're using an MVP service called Webflow, and it's very complicated and high-tech. But if you pay for the service, you get a custom domain, which is, in short, if you type in Amazon.com, it takes you to Amazon.com. So we would make it so if you type in Topline.com, it would take us to Topline, which can make it easier to gain customers. And then also, it would allow us to actually get our MVP, our business running, because we can make sales through the MVP, which would be really nice. And then $50 to $75 would go towards marketing. Like Hudson mentioned before, we are going to do paid marketing through Instagram, and that would allow us to pay some Instagram accounts to gain us customers. And then the rest of the money would go towards Fiverr. And what this would do is we could make ads that we could post on our Instagram, and then we could also get help with making our website the best it could possibly be. So yeah. Thank you for listening, and remember, our bottom line is quality.
I noticed in the tagline for the, it was maybe on your Instagram page or something, the motto was like little to no fees on, like, how do you get to the no fees part? Is there a way to actually have no fees if I sell something on Topline?
Wait, where did you say?
Maybe if you go, it's early on in the presentation. Keep going. Keep going. Keep
Marketing?
Keep going. Ah, there you go. Oh, it's on Twitter. Online marketplace that connects buyers and sellers with little to no fees. Is there actually a way to do it for free?
No, I think that we just spent the 4 to 6% on that.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to be careful that you're not making claims that aren't supported. You'll get people in that are expecting to be able to do it for free, potentially.
True.
Do you have an idea of who, so you're, working with kind of a narrow band of product, collectibles and things like that. Do you have an idea of who your competitors would be in that space? Either locally, within the area, like certain stores or, vendors that, I know the shoe place just opened up. Are there, where did people go beside, before that came? Are there, certain websites and things like that specialize in either shoes or?
Yeah, so there's StockX, which is primarily like a shoe store. They also sell other streetwear and cards and stuff like that. So there are things that are similar to us, but they all take a high percent, and there's also a big shipping fee. So you're going to be paying a lot more than what you're originally paying for.
Is that because of the insurance? Or just
Well,
the shipping
it's
cost?
just a shipping, because I don't know where they ship it from. It's $10 of shipping, and then they verify, so they ship it to the warehouse, and then they ship it out to so you pay.
Just curious, how are you able to work this so that you don't have to charge such high fees? How much are you covering your projected costs? What's that cushion?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Well, these other companies charge a significant fee, probably to cover the shipping, cover verifications, and if you're gonna do high-end watches, there'll probably be some level of insurance that you need with shipping. How is it that you guys are able to charge, very little fees? Are you able to cover all that?
So I think I probably did a bad job at explaining fees. So by fees, we mean obviously on eBay, you have to pay shipping and stuff, and that's included. Or well, that's additional. When you're buying something on eBay, it'll say $1,200 plus $30 shipping. But the fees we mean is just what we take. eBay takes 30%, not including shipping or insurance,
Right.
and then the buyer has to, or the seller has to cover that.
Right, I guess I'm guessing that there's a reason why those fees are so much higher, because they're not just doing this to just do basic coverage of their costs. That there's a cushion for profit in all of that, as well as loss. You guys have built that into your business model for you, so that you're not just doing this for zero money? Okay.
Nice job, guys. The target customer is teenagers on the seller side, right, for your platform. Now, who do you see as your target buyer demographic? Who's going to be? What's the demographic of the customer who's purchasing the collectibles from the teenage sellers?
Well, it could be either teenagers or adults. For us, some of us collect cards. I collect shoes sometimes. Hudson and Ethan collect cards. It's just a good way, because they would buy and sell cards. There's conventions where a bunch of teenagers go that we've seen, where they just buy and sell cards at stations with a bunch of items, and then you could just go up, see what you want, and see what you want to pick out. And we plan to make that, but online.
I suspect the demographics of the sellers are going to look a little different than the buyers. And in your marketing plans, make sure you have it in place on how you're going to reach both. Because if you have too much lopside on people's listing stuff, but nobody there to buy it, it's not going to work. So you have to have a good balance there.
Can you talk a little bit about sort of your company's interaction between the buyer and seller? So, is it someone lists for sale, and then is the interaction through the website just between the buyer and the seller, or is your company involved as a middle person at some level to facilitate the transaction?
So that's a good question. So we're gonna, like you said before, we're gonna be the middle people in the transaction. So, either the buyer comes to us through our concierge service and says, hey, I want this item, we go find it, or if you're talking about our online marketplace, they'll talk to us and we'll list it for them.
So you're never gonna have custody of the items that are being sold, that's right. And I can ask this to follow up on your verification procedure. So if you're never gonna have control over items that are being listed, how do you kind of get that verification process there?
Oh, well, it'll be, so how it'll work is, let's just say, okay, let's just say I'll use the Kobe auto as an example. So you got a buyer and seller, they agree on the price, and so they decide, okay, let's do it. So then they're gonna ship it to us, we're gonna authenticate it through, you know, a card expo or someone who knows a lot about cards that they will trust, and then after that, we will ship it back to them when we can guarantee authenticity.
Okay. And so I'm assuming there's a cost associated with getting someone to provide that verification. Is that built into your cost model as well?
Yeah, that will.
Could you speak to the $44.99 quarterly fee? Why did you decide to have that quarterly?
So what we were thinking is that that service would be used more for if someone wants to like really sell on a website. And there's some math involved on the finance. I think it's something like if you sell, it's like $2,500 worth of stuff, you get your money back for the monthly fee,
Okay.
or the quarterly fee, sorry.
Why did you do quarterly instead of like monthly?
Because again, for sellers, we're targeting more towards the teenager side, and us being teenagers itself, we don't have a lot of money, and we don't think that teenagers will really be able to afford $45 a month just going towards subscription. So we rather did it quarterly, so there's like a little bit of space cushion, so the teenager can put the money together and then pay for it.
Okay. Thank you.
And while that they have the subscription, so they get money from what they're selling, and maybe they have outside job or their parents give them some money. So that's kind of that we came up with quarterly rather than monthly.
Have you thought about, what I'm gathering is that you're having sellers pay fees. Right? You give those for X, they're gonna get a little bit less than X when it's all said and done. What about buyers paying fees?
Well, I guess that could be kind of the seller's choice. Like they could say, okay, so we're gonna sell, like let's just say an item's worth like, I'll use $1,200 again, and the fees cost $50, right? They could include that into their costs, or they might not. But we'll definitely have to send them like how much the verification will cost. Like if we go to like Loan & Co. and they say, okay, we'll verify this for $10, $20, and then we'll definitely have to tell them they gotta pay that.
Yeah, I guess one question that I think you guys should maybe try to answer during your MVP process is, do I think that I'll be able to develop more of a market of goods that I can sell if I can market it as, hey, it's free. It's free to sell on our marketplace, and then the buyers end up having to pay, X plus a little bit. The same way that it works with like, maybe concert tickets or that kind of stuff. Or if you're trying to develop this business by getting more buyers in there because it's free. And that would just be I have my guesses, but I think that would be an interesting set of questions to try to answer during the MVP process.
That's the last question. You guys have one last question, and then let us know the decision.
So just to summarize what you want to find out with this, you want to determine the most appropriate marketing channels that get the most potential users with this, and set up a landing page to figure that out, and then also purchase advertising or marketing on certain channels.
I'm still a little murky on what you're actually trying to test in your MVP. Is it the ability to attract buyers and sellers? Or is it, as Carlos was suggested, trying one model where, in essence, the fees are only incurred if you actually buy or sell? Or the subscription model? Help me out as to what exactly
So,
you're
through our landing page, we want to make sure that we have buyers and sellers.
Okay,
So we make sure we have both of them before
Okay.
we do anything. So even through that, like if someone wants something, or someone wants to buy something, like we can try to make a deal together through our
What about just, in the MVP process, focusing on just trying to execute the concierge, try to get a bunch of people to like tell you things they wanna sell, put it on Instagram, have your own kind of like private, you got people following because they wanna know what's listed every day or multiple times a day. You're saying, hey, we just picked up these shoes, or we picked up this watch, or we picked up these, whatever it is, and you in effect simulate all of this that way. Is that what you're proposing, or am I
Yeah.
suggesting something different? Okay.
So the 160 would go for that landing page?
I'm good with it, with the low cost.
What do we got?
You're gonna have to compromise on your domain name. You're not gonna get topline.com for that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be creative a different way.
Based on what Carlos said, you don't even need a website.
Right.
Sure.
So put that money to other use.
Yeah, I consider maybe not using a website in the first place and just focus everything on, like, through one channel, like Instagram or whatever it is you guys wanna use. But we'll be interested in a few months to hear about all the products and transactions that you were able to even process through your,
Agree, I'd rather see that action than you taking a month and a half designing what you all love as a website and not get any experiments in the marketplace. So I'm totally behind, I'm okay with you guys having access to 250, but I think you've got free channels on your phones right now that you could use.
Okay, so 250, just no website, use try different channels to test it, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Get that
right.
right?
I think that's right.
Okay, great, thank you guys.